Terry Blackburn here. I have a property portfolio worth over £10 million. I've built and sold multiple companies, some in seven-figure deals. I wrote two successful books, one won awards all over the world. All of these awards behind me are national and international awards for some of my companies. Coach people one-on-one, and I run masterminds. Now, if you like what I talk about in this session, if you listen to my podcast, you follow us on Instagram, you follow the YouTube page, if you like what I talk about and I resonate with you and you can relate to me, jump on my website, which is terryblackburnproperty.com. All of the different services that I have is on there. I'd love to work with you and I'd love to help you get to where you want to be, whether that's in property, whether that's in business, whether it's in sales, goal setting, whatever it is that you want to achieve and want to learn. I'm your man. Enjoy the rest of the episode and speak soon.
Hi, and welcome to the Rags to Riches Show with myself, Terry Blackburn. So today's episode is about AI. Now, this could be a really long episode, but I'm going to condense it. It could be really long because I love this topic. It blows my mind. AI, how good it is, how quick it's advancing, the fact that you can't ignore it. Like, I've got a full-time employee now who's working across all my companies, whose sole objective is AI. That is all they do. They are looking at AI and how it can be implemented into all of my companies, property and non-property, what they can do with it and how we can speed things up, how we can potentially get rid of some staff, how we can make ourselves more profitable. And it's just a fascinating subject. Every time I speak to him, it blows my mind. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the 6 key areas I believe that AI is going to impact property investing specifically. Okay. I might end up digressing a little bit, talking about something else because it's that much of a fascinating topic and subject. But let's get into it. So, before I do, I want to tell a story about something that I learned. A story that I heard just recently in Vegas. So, I was in Las Vegas at the ClickFunnels event, Funnel Hacking Live, and Tony Robbins did a talk. And Tony Robbins talked about AI. Now he's got something like 100 plus companies. He turns over billions with a B across all of his companies. He's a billionaire. Very, very switched on bloke, obviously, and he's at the forefront of a lot of different industries, doing a lot of huge stuff. So his opinion, I think you've got to value and trust. And he talked a lot about AI. And he used a couple of examples through storytelling, which I think are relevant. So I'm going to tell you what he said. The first one was, don't quote us on the exact dates, but something like X amount of 100 years ago, 97% of America were farmers. Okay. Now fast forward to today, and only 3% of America are farmers. And he said, when everybody was a farmer in America and machinery came along, so before combine harvesters, tractors, and all of this stuff, I know nothing about being a farmer. So again, don't quote us on this. But my point is, when machinery came along, they were so worried that all jobs of farmers are going to be gone. And fast forward till today, however many 100 years ago that was, to today, yes, the dramatic reduction in farm workers, right? Why machinery and things can be produced in a factory and all of these things that have affected that, right? That was a huge infrastructure change to the world, right? When machinery came along. You could say the same with when cars were invented, from going from a horse and cart to cars and all of the things that has advanced from that. Airplanes, before we had those, it was all done on boats and cars, right? He used another example of the internet, right? When the internet came along, everyone was really, really worried that jobs were going to be lost, industries were going to be killed off. And looking back, yeah, it was, the yellow pages. Do they even exist anymore? Like, I don't think they do. There might be local magazines and things where people advertise, but certainly remember them big yellow pages if you're old enough to remember, like me, that nobody goes to them anymore, right? Why they go on the internet? There's loads of different industries that have been affected by the internet. Yeah, it did kill off loads of jobs. It did change the world. It did change everything over a space of time. Not even that long ago, a social media manager wasn't a thing. Like a content creator wasn't a thing. Like now how relevant and prevalent are those careers? They're massive, right? And use these as examples to set the scene for what AI is going to do. So just like before machinery, no one could have anticipated machinery being invented and changing the world. Nobody could have anticipated the internet before the internet came along. Likewise, nobody anticipated AI before it came along. Now it's here. We all have two choices. Do we embrace it and try and ride this wave, or do we ignore it? I think ignoring it would be foolish. One thing he mentioned, when he mentioned loads, one big thing he mentioned was the change of machinery took a period of time, quite a long time for it to fully transition into society. Likewise with the internet, it took a while to transition. It took a while to get from, no internet and the jobs that we had at that time to then what the internet done, the new jobs it created, the new industries it created, the new things that happened. It took a while. But he's saying it's literally 3 to 5 years, this AI stuff is going to change everything. 3 to 5 years. I can't remember the time frame he used for the others, but it was a hell of a lot longer than 3 to 5 years. So we're going to experience a bigger change than before any of those other big advancements, but in a shorter time frame. So nobody actually knows the time frame. Nobody actually knows what's going to happen. But it's a fascinating subject, right? He talked about lorry drivers. I think the stat was 6 million. So there's 6 million lorry drivers in America. He said, with his opinion, within 3 to 5 years, they will all be gone. As in, those jobs will be gone because there will be self-drive. Self-drive's already here. There will be no need for lorry drivers, right? That is mind-boggling if you think about it. Like, that's only one type of driver. Delivery drivers, haulage, all of these other taxi drivers, like all of these other things. And he said that's already here, that is already happening, and self-drive is already here. So again, that's one example. Think about like I was just speaking to somebody about this the other day, so it's in my mind. People that do like design work, as in, people that design logos and websites and things like that, they are not needed now. They are literally not needed. There's AI right now. We use it that can design images, logos, websites in a second. Like it's mental. Like so, I'm digressing a bit here, but I had to set the scene a little bit for what's happening. And someone like Tony Robbins talks about. I think you've got to pay attention. I think you've got to embrace what he's saying. And I think you can be scared of AI, of course, and you can put it off and think it's not going to affect you and all of that. But I think the people that really won, probably in the machinery era thing that changed and the internet thing that changed, the people that really won in those times, I think were the people that embraced it. So all we can do is embrace it. And like I say, that's why I've took on a full-time guy and he's working across all businesses. And some of the stuff he's creating is crazy. Some of the stuff he's doing for the businesses is mental. Like to give you an idea, there's a software when you're doing a Zoom call, if you sell on Zoom or you have meetings with customers on Zoom, will transcribe it based upon what you've said, can summarize the meeting and email it to you, right? That's been around for a while. But what I can now also do is prepare an email to the person you've had a Zoom call with based on what you've said. If they email back, it'll then have an email conversation based upon what you've said because it's learning what you're saying in the Zoom call. Then if you have a product or a service and it knows about those products and services, which you can easily train it to, it will then give a recommendation and advice and present a product to this person. So like that's just because it's linked to like financial services, what I do, right? You have a Zoom call with a customer, I can give advice, it can almost get rid of the salesperson, which is mental. Like honestly, I could go on and on and on about this stuff. It can do video editing, it can create pretty much anything that you want at this point. Even the chat GPT stuff's amazing. I just literally used it this morning to write a legal letter. I'm not going to discuss why because it's a legal letter, but the legal letter that it wrote was unbelievable. I got a quote from a solicitor for £600 to write that letter. I would say that this letter that it's done probably is the same, if not better, and it didn't cost us a penny. Like accountancy, you're going to be able to plug it into your bank account. You plug it into your accountancy software, and it's going to be able to do your tax returns in an instant. You're going to be able to use it for literally everything. But I'm digressing. I'm going to pull it back to property. Like this is fascinating, this subject, and my biggest, the biggest lesson or thing you can get from this podcast today is embrace it. Do not be putting this off because it's going so quick. So, property. There's 6 areas that I believe it is going to affect property in substantially. So let's go through the 6 areas. Who knows what's going to happen? It's probably going to affect 100% of areas in property, right? Not just these 6 that I'm going to talk through. But I think these are probably first, and I think these are definitely going to be affected imminently. So the first one is how we'll find deals, right? Loads of people come to me and say, I can't find deals, or there's not enough stock on the market, or I can't get things agreed at the right price, I struggle to negotiate, and etc. etc. So I'm helping these people obviously do that. I'm helping them negotiate, I'm helping them find deals through my masterminds and my coaching. I help people do this. But I don't believe that it's going to be very long until there's a software. You can plug it in. This is what I'm looking for, Mr. AI software. Find us these type of deals. And in a second, it will produce properties that meet that bit of criteria. Therefore, your time on looking at properties is going to be massively reduced. You could plug in various different bits of information, from bedroom size to square footage to price point to location to, if you're going to go further down this rabbit hole, could you plug in that, well, these are the deals that I've done in the past and these are my best deals. I want you to find deals that are like these deals based upon the refurbishment cost, the photographs, the square footage, look, all of it. And I could actually not just find you 3-bedroom properties in Newcastle under 100 grand, but find you it could really granular and based on previous information that you give it, it could work out the real good deals, right? Or could it work out, if a property's been on the market this long and it looks like this, and based on land reg, and it's this type of person that owns it, that you're more likely to get a discount. Like, I don't know. Probably can at some point. Direct to vendor campaigns, can it tell you which streets to send letters to where you're more likely to get a phone call? Can it analyze data? Not can it? It can, but is this software available yet? I don't know. To analyze data where it'll tell you, right, well, if you send a letter to this house, you're more likely to get a response than if you send it to this house based on all of this past history. Like, how quick would deal source has been needed anymore? I don't know. I don't think it's long before it's impacted, if not completely taken over that industry. Do you need someone to find you a deal? Yes, it's the negotiating thing, but can you get a sales AI? By the way, there's AI sales negotiators already who sound like a real person who can ring up an estate agent and pitch them and negotiate for you. That's already there, right? They're doing it in America. But this is mad, isn't it? So you could use software to find the deals and the AI negotiator to negotiate the deal for you. All you've then got to do is buy it and do the paperwork. Could you get someone to do the paperwork for you? Could the AI do your paperwork? Probably. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but finding deals is number one. Number two, these aren't in any particular order. Number two is the way that they are valued. So we've all experienced mortgage valuers going to a property and down valuing the property, pulling it for loads of nonsense. The comparables that they're using are terrible, and you get very irregular and inaccurate, unbiased. It's a bit all over, isn't it? Like, let's be honest. One valuer could value one property at 100 grand. Another valuer the next day could go and value it at 130. Like, it can be that sporadic and that different because it's based upon their opinion, and sometimes their opinions are wrong. Sometimes they're really, really risk averse. Sometimes they're not. Could AI come in and be 100% accurate 100% of the time and eradicate valuers based on all of this information that you feed it? All the information, the square footage, all of the ways that a valuer gets evaluation now could be automated and use AI. I think that's going to come. I think it'll be a good thing because then there'll be less of this, the value as down value. It'll be 100% accurate 100% of the time. So I don't think it's far away if it's not already available, or there'll be some mad person working on it right now in some basement that gets 100% accurate valuations 100% of the time. I think that's going to be a big change in property. I think it's a good thing. And if it's an AI doing it, why should we be paying £500-600 for a mortgage valuation to the lender when it can be done, by a bot, or can be done remotely? It can be done based on a video walkthrough or something to that effect, or pictures even. Like, I don't think we're that far away from that. I really don't. So, number 3, I think it could probably do this right now, right? Which would be market predictions. So if you could feed it all of the information that we have on a certain location, could it predict based on the economy, based on what's to come and what's happening now in the economy and all of that? And I'm certainly not that, I'm not the person that talks about the economy all the time. On a side note, my view of all that is just whatever happens, happens. I'll make it work regardless. That's why I don't, read up on it too much. I believe I can adapt and pivot regardless of what happens, right? But my point is here, can it predict what's going to happen? Can it then predict property prices? Which strategies are better than others? Which locations are going to go up? Which ones are going to go down? What's going to happen in certain locations, price points, strategies, tenant profiles, renters reform bill, all of this stuff? Can it predict it? So then you can use it to see what's coming. And when you know what's coming, you know what your next move is, which I think is a fascinating one. The problem is you'll never know if it's 100% accurate because you can't see it in the future. But would you trust AI, or would you trust someone on social media talking about the economy? I would trust AI. That's just my opinion. But it's fascinating, isn't it? Like, we could go down this rabbit hole and we could keep going and going and going. I could probably talk about this subject for a day, mate, because I love it so much. It's such a fascinating thing. But imagine if you could use it to predict this, that says, right, okay, Terry, so this location, these type properties using this type strategy is the best way to make money in property for the next 5 years. Imagine if it could tell you that. What would you do then? You'd empty your bank balance into that strategy, wouldn't you? You'd raise a load of money from angel investors and go into that strategy, because if it's right, like, game changer, right? Next one kind of links to me, right? Which is my background, which is, as you know, is mortgages and life insurance. So the certainly the mortgage side of it, like, do we need mortgage brokers? Like, I hope that we do, because a lot of my friends in that industry, I coach a lot of businesses in that industry, and I've just launched a community which is in that industry for financial advisors, mortgage brokers, and life insurance brokers. It's a big, big topic, and it's something that I love and I'm passionate about. But you can get mortgage advice online from an AI bot already. That's been around for quite some time. I think people will always want the human touch, and I think they'll always want to speak to somebody. But if there's AI salespeople, which there's already exists, I don't know how good they are 100% of the time. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're not far off. But, like, you can get mortgage advice online and it can be 100% accurate, most of the time. There will become a time where it's 100% accurate 100% of the time, which is crazy. I think some people still want to see the whites of someone's eyes and shake someone's hand. I think that will still exist. But I think the mortgage industry is going to be impacted massively. I think when lenders click onto it that they don't need brokers, I think that's a potential change in the market. Because when lenders realize they don't need brokers and they can just go direct to customers using AI, could lending get cheaper because they're paying less fees out? Who knows, right? But I think there's going to be a disruption in the mortgage market personally as well. I think certainly for brokers, I think it's something that could be replaced by AI. What I do think with all of these changes, I mean, I'll do a summary at the end, what I think is going to happen personally, but I think focusing on that mortgage point, I think there could be a big change there for brokers for sure. Property management is the 5th one. So I think property management, you're like, I've got a letting agents in Newcastle. Shameless plug, if you've got properties in Newcastle, we'll manage your properties for you or sell your property for you, right? But property management could easily be impacted by AI in terms of all of the things that you have to do as a tenant. So you've got to reference checks, haven't you? You've got to submit your documentation. The landlord or the agent's got a reference check you, see if you've got a guarantor, check your documents, check all of these different things. That could be done online. I think it pretty much is being done online already. There could be a way for landlords or letting agents to predict the likelihood of somebody missing payments, of somebody trashing the place, based upon previous data, based on the age, the gender, the job title, the income bracket, the all of these factors. When you mash them all together, could easily, based on past information of other people that have bounced payments or other people that have trashed the place, that could predict or give you a score, you could say, of the likelihood, the percentage of this person is going to be a bad tenant. It could identify red flags early. It could do inventories. It could lodge deposits. It could do all of the stuff that letting agents need to do and landlords need to do in regards to tenants. It could do that, right? I'm probably sure it's already there if it's not already there. It could, everything to do with property management. So when somebody rings up the letting agent and says the boiler's broke, an AI could be picking up that phone call. Then AI could then instruct a heating engineer to go and see the boiler. Like it could be automated, right? And I think that's going to be a change as well. Like pretty much every single thing as we know it is going to be impacted, right? But we're just talking about property here. I think property management could easily be, renewals, viewings, inventories, inspections. It can all be impacted. I really believe that it can. And the last thing, any form of marketing, advertising of property. So whether you are selling a property, whether you are, putting it up to let, whether you are going on the right move looking for deals, whether you are putting it on your social media, any form of marketing is going to be impacted because we are already speeding up our marketing. We are already producing more content using AI, video editing, image generation, social media posting, caption writing. We're doing it. We're actually managing social media accounts for quite a few people now because our output is huge because we've got employed staff in the marketing team and I've got this guy in AI who is like a wizard with it. Like we are generating some decent content, like it's high end, it's decent, using AI at a quick rate because we've got men on the ground doing it, right? So I think any form of marketing in any capacity, whether you're selling deals, whether you're renting out deals, whether you're looking for angel investors, you're doing social media content, you're pumping out whatever you're pumping out in a marketing perspective, I think it's going to be impacted by AI for sure. So we've got how deals are found, how things are valued, how things are managed, predictions, the financial side of it, the mortgage side of it, and the marketing around all of it. Now, I could go on, but I like to keep these podcasts nice and short so people can, listen to them in action what they've learned. And I think just to summarize, like everything we know is going to change, and I think you can't put this off. I think you've got to embrace it. What I do think has a strong chance of happening, however, let's look at the mortgage world, for example. It's going to go really AI and it's going to be automated. Human touch is going to be lost a little bit, but I do think it's going to come back. People are going to want to deal with a real person, and they might get really, really sick of AI at some point and be like, no, I want to deal with an actual human. I hope it does come back round. Likewise, you could say the same about finding deals. You could go and use AI and software and find loads and loads of deals really, really quickly with ease. You don't need to be a deal sourcer, but it could quite easily come back to deal sourcers because people want to deal with a person. So I do hope that happens because I don't want us just to become, so reliant on these robots in AI. But it might not, right? Who knows? But I think if you don't embrace this now, I think you're crazy, in my opinion. And I think use AI as much as you can, or if you just physically don't have the time, work with someone like me who can help you. I teach AI in the masterminds. I teach AI one-to-one. And in my team, I'm managing other people's social media accounts and helping them and their businesses to see how they could use AI and make it better, more profitable, more streamlined, quicker, more efficient, etc. And if you don't have the time or you don't want to do that, I think you just got to embrace it yourself, for sure. So that is my 6 main areas that AI is going to affect property investors, based just an opinion, what I think and know about the market right now. So if you enjoyed that, please click the share button and send this podcast to somebody else who's in property who you think might enjoy the episode, or who you think's quite into AI, or looking into AI, or is interested in the topic. Send us a message. I'm happy to have a chat with anybody, see if I can help. So whatever you do today, remember, don't just take notes, take action. And whatever you do, don't ignore AI. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon.